Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by the band, The Perfect Storm, consisting of Ethan, James, and Maddie. We're going to be talking to them about everything that they're up to, any current or new projects that they're going to be up to. So, Ethan, Maddie, and James, thank you all for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, sir.
Well, why don't each one of y'all start off by telling the listeners a little bit about yourselves?
My name is Ethan Lynch. I'm one of the lead singers and lead guitarist of The Perfect Storm.
I'm James Crackett. I'm also one of the lead singers and guitarists of the Perfect Storm.
And I am Matt Curtiglow, and I am the drummer and singer also.
Okay. Well, if you guys were asked what type of music or what genre of music would you do, what would you say?
Pop, rock, country.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're a little bit of pop rock and country. We've got some undertones of the '80s, some undertones of some heavier rock and some
Progressive.
some progressive
Even a little
rock. Yeah.
punk, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit of punk at times. We're a little bit of a mix of everything, but we blend well together.
Okay, well, why don't you guys explain to the listeners, how you guys got started, how long you've been playing music, and how you got your name?
So we kind of started getting together as a cover band back around the time of COVID. Um, Maddie and James had kind of gotten together first, and they were just jamming out. Me and James started chatting after years of maybe a hiatus or whatever of not chatting with each other. We got back together and started. He introduced me to Matt, and we started getting together playing, and we just had like a real good chemistry together. So maybe after, I don't know, what we do, like 6 months of jamming out with covers, we decided to start working on our first album, Maiden Voyage.
Yeah, we probably were doing covers at first, like kind of like a lot of country and like some rock covers and stuff. And then we started to introduce some originals, and then we decided to record an album. And then after about uh, 2 years of recording, we got it complete in September of 2024 and released it on February, what was it, 21st of this past year was the release.
Okay, well, talk to the listeners about some of you guys' influences. Who influences you to do what you do, whether it's somebody that's famous or somebody that's independent.
Well, I'm being the drummer. I'm a big Rush fan. I'm into progressive rock, like Genesis, but also, some like slightly darker influences like Clutch and Iron Maiden. But I'll listen to anything. One of the songs that we might do coming up is covered from the Traveling Wilburys. So I mean, it pretty much covers all the gamut for myself, anyway.
Yeah, this is James, and I say I'm pretty heavily influenced by a lot of the older groups like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, some of the groups that had a lot of like harmonies and stuff, either like the doo-wop or Motown type groups that they sang a lot of vocals together, and we tried to put some of that down on this album as well too, where we would harmonize together on songs.
And this is Ethan. A lot of my influences kind of range from like Alice Cooper to Coheed and Cambria, Marilyn Manson, Periphery. I'm a big fan of Clutch, just like Maddie is as well. But I think like in our album, you hear little elements when I'm playing guitar of a lot of those different bands kind of coming through.
Well, talk to the listeners about the story behind your debut album.
So I guess really like our debut album, Maiden Voyage, the band's called The Perfect Storm. What better way to set sail than with a big maiden voyage? So we threw a lot of names at the wall, and this one kind of seemed like it fit best for the band. As being a debut album, it makes sense that you're going on this journey, and who knows where it's going to take you at the end of the day.
Yeah, so James, we started recording it in September of 2022, and we finished it in September of 2024.
Yeah,
Ironically,
it was like 20 months.
yeah. So it took a while, and we uh, basically just took our time recording it, tried to make sure we had everything straight and the way we wanted it, and then we ended up hooking up with MTS and Virgin Universal and released it through them on February of this past year.
Well, let's talk about your new single, "Magic Feeling." Take us through the writing process and where the idea came from.
Well, Magic Feeling, it was kind of like originally like I had wrote. This is James as like a country song, and it's like kind of like the almost like a circle of life for an individual where they start off, they're young, they're on a beach, there's looking at a bunch of beautiful women in bikinis, drinking beers with their friends, and then they go to college and they start to understand themselves more, and then they after college they like get a job, move in with love, but it's really not the right love, and then finally it ends where they are married and have children and realize that this is you know uh great, this is what life is about, and then it ends back where it began, back where somebody new, where they're on the beach again, with women in bikinis and drinking beers with their friends. So it's like a new generation, almost like the circle of life. It just keeps going, and that song, we had it went number one on the national radio hits. But actually, our current single is now "We Fell in Love," which has been doing very well too. We've released that, and that's been out on the national radio hits charts, and it's also hit the media base activator charts as well too.
So when you guys are writing and you need inspiration, where do you draw? Where do you draw it from?
It could be it could be anything really, like a mood, what kind of mood you're in, what kind of day you've had, maybe some music that you listen to that got you into a certain mood. And then, I mean, I'm kind of new to the writing process. I've only written one song on the album, but that's the way I do it. And then obviously songwriters too. I said I was a big Rush fan. He Peart, the drummer for Rush, he's also their chief songwriter. And then recently, the gentleman that just passed away from the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson. You can learn a little bit from those guys, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is James. I mean, for me, it just varies. It could be something I see, something I hear could inspire me to write something. It could be a moment, and then it makes me have a certain feeling, perhaps, and then I write that down as well. And then sometimes I just start hearing different melodies or the way a song could go, and then just start kind of like putting it out that way. And then uh, sometimes it's either individually or sometimes we all get together and then do it together. But a lot of times, even if we do it alone, we still put our own elements on it, or we tell each other when we're writing songs, like, oh, we don't necessarily think it should go this way, or maybe change these lyrics or something like that. So it's still always a team and collaborative effort in the end, whether we do it the initial parts individually or not.
Well, if you guys could pick one song that you're excited to hear, or that you're excited for the listeners to hear, which one would it be and why?
Um, I think maybe the song I like most is probably Anybody New on the album. Um, it's kind of like being on a journey about having, I guess most of our songs are about love in some form, but it's kind of like a journey of like yearning for your one true love and hoping that she's available to like give you that chance. But it's almost like a ballad the way that one's written, and I'm really big into the '80s and like synth wave and like little elements of that style. So I think this one had a lot of stuff that I'm really into, and I really enjoyed writing the lyrics for this song.
Yeah, this is James. I mean, for me, I think really it's hard to just pick one song. I think it's the whole album because it's so unique from start to finish. And for we hope that when the listener listens to it, that they hear something that they can relate to and something that will impact their life in a positive manner.
I guess this is Maddie. I guess if I had to pick, I'd say song. Like right now, I'm kind of in a song for my friends. It's kind of about everybody that was there from start to finish. The people that were with you the whole way and told you, encouraged you and told you that see it through to the end. I guess.
Well, talk to the listeners about where you guys grew up and how that plays a role in your style of music.
Well, I think like for me, I jumped around a lot when I was younger, so being in a lot of different settings, I think really gave me a lot of different musical influences over time. I was never really grounded like these guys were for most of their life.
This is James. I grew up in Schenectady, New York, which is near the capital, Albany. It's and A lot of influence started, especially in church. My parents always took us to church every week, so hearing the music and the organ, they had a massive organ in the church that we went to, so that was a big influence. My father plays guitar as well, along with his brothers. So that was also another influence. I remember when I was young, as a small child, that he would be playing guitar and he would be singing all the time, and that was very inspiring. And then also, I guess growing up when MTV actually played videos, seeing those videos and the artists, that uh, we liked at the time, was like, wow, that looks cool. And, eventually trying to pick up a guitar and to do the things that they did.
This is Maddie. I'm from Troy, New York, which is right outside Albany, and it's where I got my first couple lessons, downtown. And my influences are, my cousin and my uncle. My uncle played jazz. My cousin plays like kind of like metal, and I used to watch them. And basically just the bigger venues, the bands that would come through. I mean, and then me and Jim were in a band previously, so we played. We were playing back 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Well, talk to the listeners about the message that you're trying to convey through your music and your songs. What message do you hope that when listeners listen to your music that they get out of it?
Um, that's a tough one, ain't it?
I mean, for me personally, this is James. I think, that I would like for them to get, a positive message, something that they can relate to and uh, make their day and life better. I like to uplift people, and I like you know thinking that the music that I write with these guys is giving people positivity and something that when they look back on their life, they will look back and say that those songs were part of their life. Just like how now when I look back at like when I was in school and stuff. I'm like, oh, I remember these songs and they translate to certain moments and things. And I hope that is the same for other people as well too when they listen to The Perfect Storm.
Well, did you guys always dream of being musicians, or was there like a one defining moment that made you guys say, "Hey, this is what we want to do"?
I mean, I think for me, yeah, like I started out as a drummer, so most of my childhood I was always beating on like pots and pans or beating on the table with wooden spoons from the kitchen. So at a very young age, I had gotten a drum set, and that kind of sparked my interest in being a musician. And then my dad gave me a guitar early on, and I used to listen to Green Day as a little second grader in Elm School and just try to figure out the chords as I listened to it. So kind of been a lifelong long journey for me.
This is James. I mean, yeah, pretty much I'd say probably since the time I was probably like six or something. I wanted to do something with music, and then seeing, videos. I remember seeing Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, thinking how awesome that was when he was playing these phenomenal guitar solos and the Star Spangled Banner and all that. I just thought, oh, that's so awesome, and the way he was commanded the crowd and stuff like that. And obviously, as you become a teenager and older, you realize, oh wow, musicians get a lot of girls, stuff like that too. So there was that aspect, at that point too. But I've always, have wanted to do music and do it professionally.
This is Maddie. I think everybody who doesn't really want to be a rock star, right? I mean, it's a lot of fun, but life happens. There was a point where I didn't pick up drumsticks and didn't even have a set for like 15 years. So it was always in the back of my mind. But did I ever think that we'd be here talking to you right now? I mean, probably not. But here we are.
Well, tell us about any upcoming projects that you're working on that listeners need to be aware of.
Well, this is James. Right now, we actually have started recording our second album. We have been putting tracks down for that. And we've also been getting ready. We're supposed to be playing at our big event here in Troy, which gets about like 25,000 people at Chowder Fest in October around Columbus Day weekend. So that's a pretty big show for us as well. We're nominated as Group of the Year for the Josies. So we're preparing for that because there's a possibility we may be playing at the Grand Ole Opry in November. So we got a lot of stuff that we're working on right now. Yeah.
Not really too much else.
Well, so listeners can keep up with everything that the band is up to, throw out your contact info.
We are www.theperfectstormmusic.com. They can also find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok, Instagram. They can also find us through the other alternatives like Spotify, YouTube,
Dora, Amazon Music, Apple Music.
You name it, we're on.
Yeah, we're there.
All right, we'll close this out with some final thoughts. Maybe if there was something I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or any final thoughts you guys have for the listeners.
Well, we would like to, thank them for listening to us, and thank you again for having us. We hope that they check us out and, follow us as well on our Facebook, and we hope that they listen to our album and spread it far and wide, and hopefully the group expands further. And if we come to their town eventually, we hope they come and see us.
Yeah, well said.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, check The Perfect Storm out on your favorite streaming platform. Also, check them out on the website, theperfectstormmusic.com. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform and visit www.curveball337.com for more information on the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. And James, Maddie, and Ethan, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the great music, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you again for having us.
Thanks for having us. Have a good day.
For more information on the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, visit www.curveball337.com. Until next time, keep living the dream.